as our population ages, the need for solutions to age in place and age well are becoming more prevalent, as we just heard with Gabby Rosberger, who is the occupational therapist, as my previous guest. However, it becomes increasingly difficult if there's a loved one with dementia or a dementia-related disease, such as Alzheimer's. Well, there's a Montreal-based company that is making a real difference to families across Canada and the U.S. To tell us more, I have Valerie Larochelle, Eugeria's co-founder and CEO. Valerie, welcome to Life Unrehearsed.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me today.
Well, thank you for coming into studio here. Really, congratulations. It's how many years now has the company existed?
Yeah, we started Eugeria about 2018.
2018.
So we've been 7 years now doing this work.
And you guys are just really doing a fantastic job across North America. Félicitations. Let's tell our listeners a little bit about the story behind Eugeria.
Yeah, what's Eugeria? So Eugeria, we specialize in products for people that are living with dementia, like you say, like Alzheimer's disease. So it's products that are non-pharmaceutical. So when someone is living with the cognitive challenges at the earlier stages of the disease, we have things like adapted phone, adapted pill dispenser, things to make the home safer, but also to help cognitively. And when people are in the later stages, like long-term care home, we have non-pharmaceutical approach to dementia care, which is sensory, music therapy. We just added garden, so like therapeutic gardening. So there's different ways that we can address expression of unmet needs in dementia, and that's what we specialize in.
Now, you started it, I think, and with another co-founder, correct?
Yes, exactly. So my co-founder is Dr. Nguyen. He's a geriatrician at the CHUM Hospital. He's a friend of mine from high school. And about 7 years ago, when I really wanted to do entrepreneurship, I have a little bit more of a business background. Dr. Nguyen said, well, if you pick aging, I can be a medical expert. I will remain a doctor. I will continue to do, he does research also, but there's so much need that entrepreneurship at scale can answer. On my side, my grandma was diagnosed with vascular dementia, so I could see my family going through the process of trying to find solution. So we started it, that's it, 7 years ago, first picking aging as an industry, if I can say, and then looking at the need in dementia care, we really fell in love also in seeing my grandma in that kind of cognitive space of solution.
Excellent. Talking with Valerie Larochelle, co-founder and CEO of Eugeria. Love the story, personal and entrepreneur, all wrapped into one. And so now, you're in this, you're getting lots of calls. And if you could explain to us, Valerie, what are some of the challenges faced by families having a loved one with dementia or dementia-related diseases like Alzheimer's?
Yeah, so it will go from different things. So at the earlier stages of the disease, one of the first thing that goes is an ability to situate yourself in time. So the person may start missing activities because they don't want to show up on a Tuesday. If it's Wednesday, they stop going to some appointment also. So situating yourself in time is one of the earlier challenges that a family can experience. So we have, for example, adapted clocks, adapted clock that helps the person know where they need to be, what's the next activity on their schedule, is today someone's birthday, for example, and just bring them back around what time, what day, what year are we in, has very great benefits at the earlier stages.
In fact, just on that, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, but I think that's a very simple but a very popular product of these adapted clocks. Big numbers, keep it simple, and a reminder, no fault of theirs with the disease, right? But this is the scope of time, you start to lose a little bit. And here's
and
the
any of
solution.
us, if one morning we wake up, we're like, am I supposed to be somewhere? That's very high anxiety. Like I remember my grandpa asking a few times a day, is it time for lunch? Is it time for lunch? You know, and every time feeling that anxiety, am I supposed to be somewhere? So by having this clock, very quickly the person can be like, oh no, it's not lunch yet. Right. And then you avoid also multiple questions sometimes.
And now that's earlier on of the disease. As you progress, you're seeing different types of challenges, aren't you?
Yeah, so as you progress, there's expression of unmet needs, we call them, which can be apathy, aggressivity, agitation. Those sometimes can be linked. For a long time, we thought people were overstimulated, but now we know that it can also be when you're understimulated. So having adapted puzzle, adapted painting, cognitive stimulation is very important to not have those expression of unmet needs and to have purpose as you go through your day-to-day. And this we see more in long-term care homes. So for example, we have a robotic cats and dogs. I know you're talking about pet therapy today. So when someone may not be able to have a cat or a dog anymore, vaccination and having to feed and everything, this robotic mimic mix the cats and dogs and have a very big effect on social isolation, for example, and overall quality of life.
Talking with Valerie Larochelle, co-founder and CEO of Eugeria. It's some amazing products, concepts that you have available to the market. Can you give us a couple of examples of some of your most popular items that consumers can purchase?
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the most popular item in the earlier stages when people are still at home, we have adapted phone, which has pictures of people that they want to call, so very easy to handle. And it's also linked to hearing device, so like based on if there's hearing loss, those phones are higher volume. We have adapted pill dispenser also. So if there's a challenge with medication adherence, that can be a great solution to be able to continue to take your medication. In the later, and we talked about adapted clock, in the later stages, we're talking mostly like adapted painting, those robotic cats and dogs, things that are also more sensory aspects. So like fidget tool will be like some of our more popular items.
Very good. And you have an excellent website. Very, very quickly, now, just before we wrap up, technology is obviously playing a major role and a more important role in dementia care. Can you give a couple of examples of technology?
Yeah, and one of the things that we couldn't say 7 years ago, but now it's very clear, is that there's a whole market for walking aids, for hearing aids and vision aids, but there's no market yet for cognitive aid. And that's what we're developing. And now with technology, we can imagine that we don't just monitor someone in their home, but we actually help them make a task or do a task. So for example, this is not yet there, but imagine if one day when you take your pill or your medication, nothing happens. But the day where you forget, your apartment, your pill dispenser, your clock start telling you the task and help you make those step-by-step action so you can make that action. And that's what we're seeing with technology, is that for the first time we can imagine not just monitoring someone, but actually compensating for their cognition and creating cognitive autonomy.
Love it. Love it. And you are at the forefront of that technology. Fantastic job, and wishing you really continued success. I want to thank you very much, Valerie. How can our listeners find out more about Eugeria? And I'll spell it as EUGERIA, Eugeria.
Yes, so eugeria.ca. So on the website, there's different product. We also have an office in Montreal next to the Atwater Market, is in Château Saint-Ambroise, and people can come. We have a little showroom. It's also our office where we work from, but we can always welcome people if you want to come see the product in person.
Fantastic. Congratulations. And congratulations on being Globe and Mail's,
Thank you.
25th in 2024 for the top growing companies. Great, great job. Valerie, thank you so much. That's Valerie Larochelle, co-founder and CEO of Eugeria.